All right, Bears fans, before we jump into today's show, I am closing in on 9,000 Twitter followers, X followers, whatever we're calling it these days. Appreciate the love and support at HGramNFL. If you want more Bears content and just want to support my mission here, let's get to 9,000 as soon as possible. I am Harrison Graham, and you are watching Bears Now by Chat Sports. On today's show, I explore some top Bears draft targets if they trade down from the number 9 pick in the draft. So, in other words, trade down targets from number 9 if they want to move down and get more capital and add more players. Because right now, Ryan Poles has 4 picks to work with, and he's not trading number 1 unless something crazy happens in the next 3 weeks. So, trading down from 9 is your best avenue to get more capital, especially in the 2nd or 3rd round. So they could certainly do that. I still think there's a good chance they stay at 9 and select a player. It'll depend who's on the board, but I do want to explore some players that I think trading down for could make some sense. All right, let's get to the first guy here. Latu, the edge out of UCLA. You could argue that as a pure pass rusher, he is the best edge in this class. I think he's the most polished. I think he has the best moves as a pass rusher compared to a Dallas Turner, a Chop Robinson, or a guy like Jared Verse. The problem is Latu's medical history could be a problem. Now, I still think he's going to get drafted. I still think he goes first round, but that could be the difference in him going top 10 versus 15 or 18 or whatever. So, would I hate the pick if they took him at 9? No, because that probably means his medical's checked out. But I think with those 3 edges in particular, at least one of them is going to slide a little bit, and Latu's probably that guy. So with the medical background, so I think he'd be the one to trade down for if you want to get more picks. All right, Brian Thomas Jr., the other LSU wide receiver, who I think is the 4th best receiver in this class. I think the big 3 of Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors, and Rome Odunze have separated themselves a bit. But speaking of separation, Brian Thomas can do that, especially on vertical route patterns. Averaged over 17 yards a catch last year. He's not just the other LSU receiver. Like, this guy would be a number 1 for most major college football programs. And I think a guy who kind of frames out as a really good number 2 in the NFL. And the beauty here is he would just be your number 3. Because you got DJ Moore and Keenan Allen. But he gives you elite size and speed combo that I think the Bears would like to add as another outside receiver. Because DJ, 5'11", 6 foot, plays bigger than that, but, he's not going to post you up or anything like that. Not that Thomas does that a lot, but he gives you more length, more size, bigger catch radius. Keenan Allen has good size, but he's going to play primarily from the slot, and he doesn't win with straight line speed. Brian Thomas does. And he's going to get a lot of man coverage if DJ Moore and Keenan Allen are on the field. So take advantage of those one-on-ones, and you run a bunch of those fades and posts at LSU, and just gives you a deep threat element for a talented player that this offense could certainly use. And if you trade down for him, get him in the mid-teens, I think that's pretty good value for him. Now, be honest with me. What do you think is the bigger need for the Bears roster right now? Do you think it's wide receiver, like a Brian Thomas Jr., or edge, like a Latu? Who do you guys think is what do you think is the bigger positional need on this roster? Go ahead and let us know. You know what you need? To have fun. You know what fun is? Going to sporting events in person, going to watch your favorite comics, your bands, your theater events. Game Time, the best ticketing app out there. You can go to Cubs games, White Sox, Bulls, and listen, I know the White Sox are pretty bad these days. The tickets with Game Time, though, the value is just too good. You can still go enjoy fun day out at the park. You can go to Wrigley as well. You're going to get the best prices with Game Time. They're finally at home after being on the road to start their season down in Texas. Come on. Best prices guaranteed with Game Time. What I really like about Game Time, too, is a couple of things. One, you can pay with Venmo, which is absolutely fantastic. I always have extra money floating in my Venmo account, so, hey, yes, it's real money. I don't want to pretend it's not, but it's kind of just, it feels like it's extra, right? I just pay with Venmo. No big deal. You also get to see the awesome vantage points. Specific tickets, they'll tell you the row, the section, etc. But if you're like, I don't know exactly where that is at the UC, They will have a picture in place like, oh, that's where my vantage point is. Sweet. I'm not going to have anything in my way that's going to prevent me from seeing the game. Game Time is the place to go. Download the app today. Use promo code ChatSports. Get $20 off your first purchase and enjoy life. Go to sporting events. Go to concerts. Meet up with friends. Trust me, you're going to want to do all that stuff. Don't live life with regret and get great prices. Promo code ChatSports for $20 off. All right, we're going to reveal the next two guys together because they're playing the same position. Byron Murphy, Jer'Zhan, Johnny Newton, who a lot of you guys are familiar with out of Illinois. When this pre-draft process started, Newton was considered the top defensive tackle in this class. I think Murphy has caught up and even surpassed him due to the fact that he's been able to work out, he's been training, doing this and that. Newton has been banged up for most of the pre-draft process. Now, he's supposed to work out before the NFL draft for teams. That workout could go a long way because he did have a surgery, I think on his leg or his foot, whatever the case may be. But both these guys are really, really good three-tech prospects. I think you put them in that same position grouping as Jer'Zhan, Dexter, and you got a hell of a 1-2 punch, regardless of who the starter would end up being, whether it's Murphy or it's Newton or Dexter, who I think the Bears are high on his future, but they would certainly like to add another player there, I think, because that is, quote-unquote, the engine to this defense. Not my words, Matt Eberflus's. And look, whether it's edge or defensive tackle, you need another impactful defensive lineman. We saw the impact Montez Sweat made. It changed the whole defense. Imagine getting another guy that can impact the game, even 75% of the level that Sweat was able to do last year. Because, look, rookie defensive lineman, it takes time. You're not going to come in and dominate right away, most likely. But if you could be productive, at least a good rotation piece, and then a high-level starter in year 2 and beyond, then, yeah, that's something I think the Bears would like. I think Matt Eberflus would pound the table to get one of these defensive tackles and add them to this defensive line and get them trained up by Eric Washington. Happy draft month. If you're excited for more Bears draft coverage, hit that sub button. We're going to be here all month long. We'll be live for all 3 days of the NFL draft. But until then, mocks, draft targets, trade down scenarios, trade up scenarios. We've done draft trade ideas. Go check that out on the channel in the content tab after you subscribe. Former videos you can watch, new videos coming out that you can expect. Don't miss out. Hit that subscribe button for more Bears draft coverage. All right, last big one we're going to focus on, and then we'll have some honorable mentions. Troy Fautanu, the offensive lineman out of Washington, probably the most versatile O-lineman in this draft because I think he can play tackle or guard. Early in the draft process, you know, people like Mel Kiper and others like, he's a guard in the NFL. He doesn't have the body to be a tackle. And look, he's a little shorter. He's just under 6'4", but I don't think that's too short to play tackle. The weight's good enough at 317. The arms, more than good enough. 34.5-inch arms. Those are longer arms than Darnell Wright, who had plenty long arms last year, I think at 33.5. And the athletic testing was fantastic for Fautanu. And we know in a wide zone scheme, they're going to try and get on the perimeter with that toss crack and, you know, play wide receiver screen games sometimes. And having athletic linemen that can get out on the edge like Fautanu can is very, very valuable. And look, I don't know where he would play. Do you let him compete with Braxton Jones? Do you let him compete at guard? That's the beauty of it. At worst, he's just a super sixth man on your offensive line. At best, he's an upgrade over one of these guys at guard or tackle. Now, you're not going to take Darnell Wright out of there, but maybe Braxton Jones slides back. He's your swing tackle. Or maybe he beats out Nate Davis. Who knows? But Fautanu is a really good player. You trade back into the late teens, and he's still there. I think that's worthwhile. He wouldn't be the first guy I'd look at in a trade back scenario, but certainly someone I'd be comfortable with if you move down a few spots. Now, name a player that you guys think the Bears should trade down for. And let me be clear, too. Could you trade down and still get Jared Verse? Yes. Could you trade down and still get, you know, someone else? Yes. But I wanted to go with like obvious trade downs. Like you could trade down and get Olu potentially or Fuaga a couple of spots. But these 5 players are guys who I think it's probably a little rich to take them at 9. Latu and Newton potentially, along with Byron Murphy potentially. But those are guys I would prefer to trade down for, whereas, you know, a Dallas Turner, a Fuaga, like if you took them at 9, I think that's actually pretty proper value. So name a player that you think the Bears should trade down for. Now, some other guys, you know, Brock Bowers. Look, I think he's in that category if he's worthy of a top 9 pick. But in the Bears' case, with clear bigger needs, I probably would not take him at 9. I wouldn't be opposed to it, but I probably wouldn't. However, if you trade down and he's still there, you might just be like, what do you want me to do? He's the best player available. We're just going to take him. Adonai Mitchell, I think he's worthy of a top 20 selection. Jackson Powers-Johnson, if you want to get by far the best center in this draft and a guy that could also play guard, he could be an option as well. The Steelers at 20 are lurking. They need a center, so you'd probably have to be in front of them. Chop Robinson, crazy athletic, decent pass rush skills as well. Still need some polishing there, but you got to wonder if Matt Eberflus would be intrigued with those traits that he has. J.C. Latham, another guy. I have questions if he can play left tackle. He hasn't done any of the testing in the pre-draft process, but his film is pretty damn good. Those are 5 players that I would also be open to trading down and drafting. All right, there you go. Some trade down targets if the Bears move down from the number 9 overall pick. Again, let us know who you think the Bears should trade down for, and don't forget to subscribe.